the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good, and you turn it for good. You take what the enemy meant for evil, and you turn it for good, you turn it for good. See your victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see your victory, I'm gonna see your victory, for the battle belongs to you, Lord. I'm gonna see your victory, I'm gonna see your victory, for the stories of the Savior, holiness with the human hands, treasure for the traitor, no ear, no eye to see, image of the Father, until heaven came to live with me. Rescue my brother. Yes, you are worthy. Yes, you are worthy of your name. Yes, you are worthy. Yes, you are. You did not speak, you made a sound. because we're going to be talking about that today. That exact same thing about how God works and how He changes lives and how He heals people. And we're going to be talking about that in a minute. Let's pray for our pastor right now. Lord, I come to you right now and I just lift up my pastor and his wife and his family to you. Lord, bless them with fellowship and time with their family. Lord, give them a safe journey, safe travel. Lord, I pray that you just watch over and we keep them safe so that they can be back with us. Lord, we just ask that you would continue to touch him, give him a boldness, fill him with the truth as you have in the past and what you're going to do in the future. And Lord, I pray that you just anoint him right now. Lord, I pray that you would bless Amy with time with her mom right now. A long time that she needed from her. And I pray that you would just bless that time. And we ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen. You know, I've been going to Westwood since 1994. And it's a long time. It's longer than TJ did. Y'all are family. Amen. Y'all are family. Amen. And I still get nervous when I get up here and talk. So, if you don't know me, my name is Jeff. And I'm going to share today about going to Lake Charles, Louisiana. And before I call everybody up that went, I want to just tell you some of the background, how it came to be, and some of the things that happened. Kenneth, I want you to share about your trip back, though. You're going to have to share that, because that's God's working. So when the hurricane hit Lake Charles, you know, we usually do missions. We do World Changers, we do Carpenters for Christ, we do different things here at our church. We haven't had the chance to do that because of COVID. And it was killing me. I gotta tell you,
My heart is going in helping people. It is, it always has been, and I pray to God it always will be. So after it hit, about 3 days afterward, Michael Smith and Ben Cassetta were calling. We got on a conference call, and we were ready to go. We didn't know what we were going to do. We didn't know what part we were going to be in. We knew we had Ben down there, and that he was going to help set it up and get it. And let me tell you, if you ever go on a mission trip, especially with me heading it up, be flexible. Janice likes knowing what's going on, don't you, Janice? Jeff is not like that. We wing it a lot, but it was good. Ben was going to take care of our housing. We were going to take care of our own food. We took a chef and a sous chef, I don't know which is which, with us. And so we started talking about going down there, and Ben sets up, and he's working with the college down there that he's at, and taking people over and helping pull trees and all this and that. Has anybody seen the picture of Lake Charles from above with the blue roofs? Mm-hmm. Have you seen that? Just Google it if you haven't. It's amazing. About 90% of the houses have blue roofs, which have blue tarps on them. And then this weekend they had another hurricane hit. I used to think, well, hey, they live by the ocean, they should be ready for that. Not that they deserve it, but that's not true. When a hurricane comes to Jacksonville, Alabama, we live in Jacksonville, we get hit too. So anyway, we get this all set up. We're going to go down there, and it's a little bit different mission trip than it usually is. There's a lot of variables that we don't know, but we get down there. We know we're going to be staying in a house with no power, which means, and we don't know if we're going to have running water, and we know it's not going to be hot because we don't have power. So if you don't like cold showers, they were pretty cold. Let me tell you, they were cold. But we get in the house, and this young man and his wife and kids graciously allowed us to stay in their house. It was 12 of us, and we stayed in the house. They moved out because they didn't have power. They were living with somebody else. And the accommodations were adequate. We did good. We did. I think that it worked out great. But one of the stories that I'm going to tell you what, that song right there at the end, I took pictures because I didn't want to miss it. Chains fall, fear bows, here now. Jesus, you change everything. Lives healed, hope found, here and now. Jesus, you change everything. We saw lives changed in Lake Charles, Louisiana, like I've never seen changed before on a mission trip. And I've been on a lot of mission trips. And I hope I'm not stealing anybody's thunder, but I got to tell this one story. It was the last day we were there. We cut our trip early coming back because another hurricane was coming. We didn't know where it was going to hit. So we went to work at this one house on Monday morning, and we got there, and the wife, the tie was, I think the daughter went to college where Ben was, and the wife invited us over to help clean up. And this yard was total devastation. No, it wasn't the last day. Dang, I got it wrong. That was Sunday. Yes. Well, we go into this house with this yard. The wife invited us in to work. Well, the husband was there, and he was cutting wood, and he was mad. He was furious that she had the gall to ask for help. Guys, don't be that proud. Man, if you're hurting, ask for help. Allow it to happen. And what happened that day, we unloaded the equipment, and we just started working. And he went off and on another area, and he was cutting, and he was working over there. And we started clearing the yard that would have taken them 3 weeks to do. And we cleared it when we left, the entire yard. And we even went over to where he was working. And by the time we left, she was crying. And the husband was over there shaking our hands. His entire demeanor had changed. His pride was gone. God did a work in his life. I'm telling you, I saw a change in that man's life. He saw people that loved God and Jesus Christ come from Alabama and drive 10 hours to go to his house that he didn't know and do work and pull trees and clear his yard up. At the end, he'd come up to me and he said, man, if you can do one more thing, just one more thing. And we had taken a little mini excavator down there. And he says, I got a stump over there that's going to cost me a lot of money to get somebody to come in and tear it out. He said, can you do that? And I said, not a problem. And we went over there and we took the stump. It was late. We were done. But we went over there and we took that out. And he come out and shook hands and cried. And we got to pray with that man. And his life was changed. That, to me, that was worth the whole trip. Just that one life. Now, if you went to Lake Charles, I want you to come up here. Michael Smith is not here today. Come on, Nick. Come on, Kenneth. Come on, Daniel. I'll call you out by name if I have to. If you went, come on, Robert. If you want to start the picture, Robert, it doesn't matter. There's this is just some of the images that we had while we were there. Come on up here. I just want y'all, you get a chance right now to tell our family what we got to do, how it went, maybe how God worked on the way back, Kenneth, and tell some God stories. But anyway. Do I need to call somebody out? Randy, would you tell us about the sleeping accommodation?
Okay, I got Larry's job. Larry didn't go. I took his apple tree and sit there. I took care of this group and Daniel. We got ready to go cook. Well, my cook and his hamburger and hot dog, whatever I get you. And so we loaded it. Me and Daniel, we went shopping that night and put everything on ice. We know there's no problem. So, you go to bed about 10 o'clock, you get up at 1, we meet at church, we leave out here at 2 o'clock. We drive 10 hours. Well, Jeff, he's got that excavator, he's all excited. Let's go straight to work. Man, I'm wearing shorts and little sandals and stuff. Next thing I know, they dropped me off. Robert's over there sweating. I climbed up on the roof wearing what I wore 10 hours. And you don't climb up on a roof wearing shorts and sandals. I was burning in places I shouldn't have been burning. And next thing I know, I said, Jeff, and they leave. I think, well, I guess I'm here. I learned a lot off Robert. He taught me how to put tarp on the roof, stuff like that. But I was so glad that day was done because I was blistered. My knees couldn't touch that roof no more. And Robert, he worked hard. He was tired. And so we finally left to go to our place of residence. Here we are. We done drove all day, worked all day, tired. And there's no coke, there's no hot water, no power. So you're unloading everything right at dark. Jeff done work some. And so the ice we had our food on was done tore to pieces of the box we had. But me and Daniel, we put a meal together and fed them. They was happy to get it. And me, since I was in the military, I was ready for the disaster. But when I got there, the place was so unbelievably tore up. When you see train cars float off the track, a hurricane come through there. We had to drive. The telephone poles were almost laying on the road. We thought we was going to get hung up, which we did get hung up the next morning on one. Jeff did slow down, he pulled that wire full. But you know, the cold water that first night, it didn't bother us a bit. We get to the shower, we was nasty, tired, and we all slept good, sleeping. I carried a zero gravity chair. I'm thinking, you know, I've been camping a lot at zero gravity, I can sleep pretty good on that. Well, that is for when you camp out, you take 15, 20 minute naps. And so I tried to sleep on that thing, toss, turn, but I made it that night. And so we went on, got up next morning, Daniel and I fixed breakfast, and we took off again. Come back, dark again. You know, it's hard to walk in, no fireplace. But they finally got some generators going, and some of the other guys, they had fans. They put me, I don't know why they're doing it, but they put me in the baby room. And, you know, I could hear all the firewood cutting in the other rooms with those 5 guys sleeping there. They just snoring. I didn't know who it was. I thought it was Jill. You know, I'm sleeping on a comfortable, I'm sleeping in that chair. One more night, I said, one more night in this chair. But there's a baby bed there. And I looked at that mattress. I laid in that recliner there, I brought, and I said, I'm gonna try that mattress. Don't be cheap like I did. I grabbed that mattress. When you grab a mattress with one hand, I laid it on the floor. And then when I laid on just like I laid on this towel there. But I curled up there like a little baby, and I slept on that little mattress. I got up next morning, I told him, I said, I cannot sleep on this again. And, we could perhaps left, but like I say, we've seen the lives change with the people over there that really need help. I could imagine waking up and seeing all the trees and stuff. I mean, we cleaned chainsaw crews, we moved lumber, trees so much. I think everybody over there needed help. And I was real proud that we showed up. But there was a lot of the other churches, a lot of people supported that. I couldn't believe how much food was donated to this place. And all the people that took to support this. So it was a good trip. But you know, it is a lot of work. But you know, when you drive back and you know, you're gonna be tired, you go down there and you're tired. But you know, it seemed like you finally lay down at night, you're at peace though. It was real nice. So you know, I'll go again on Disney, but you know, I will get Jeff out trying to organize stuff with together. It's not the trip, it's not, to me it wasn't important it was important to help everybody, but most of all, it was the fellowship I got in this group right here. Because in church, you talk to people, shake hands, and you go. But sit around and talk, get to know people right here, the church family, it meant a lot to me right there because you really get in these deep conversations. And just getting to know this crew right here and the others that went with us was really the most important, rewarding, and important thing to me.
I'll speak up next. This is probably, I guess, me and Jan's 5th time down to New Orleans in different hurricane relief type situations. And we went down there, of course, thinking about back when we were down there with Katrina. I mean, the amount of devastation was significant. When we went down there for Katrina. And so we were kind of thinking along those lines, and it was really, there was a good amount of damage and a good amount of devastation down there, but it's very different. This was a yes. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of flooding in this one. It was kind of a fast moving thing as it went through this area. And we saw some things we really didn't expect. I mean, when you talk about concrete power poles that were busted off in the middle, hanging over the road like this, and the rebar all inside of there exposed. I mean, I'm thinking, man, a concrete power pole, it's not going to have any kind of problem. But everything was just was torn up, and you'll see in some of the pictures as they go through. I mean, just sides of buildings just gone, and it's amazing when you think about it. You go through a trailer park, and you got all these trailers that are just fine, and then you go through this next section of a subdivision or whatnot down the road, and you got this brick home that there's hardly anything of it left. And it's just how strange storms are as they come through, and you think about, well, we're gonna be in a brick house, we'll be fine. And when you get down there and you see this devastation, you see how storms don't care about what type of home you're in, whether it's a mobile home or a brick home. I mean, it's just going to take it out no matter what. It was good being Janice and Gina, another lady from another church. We went down the day before, and so we met up with Ben there at the house and tried to get some things set up. And we went out first thing that morning, and we'd already been to two different sites before the rest of the crew got there, and it's funny. I've been doing Carpenters for Christ, World Changers, and disaster relief kind of stuff for this is almost 20 some years now, and I'm the kind of person that doesn't know when to take breaks and doesn't know how to slow down. And all these guys can tell you that, and yeah, absolutely.
What we
Luckily,
need to do is we need to take an RN or a doctor for Robert.
No, not that bad. But there was I've had a heat injury before, and it flared up. I mean, just that half day out there in that humidity and the pace that I was working at. By the time Randy showed up, I really needed Randy to help me on that roof, trying to tarp that thing, because I mean, it got to the point where I got down to the ground and just fell down to my knees. I couldn't even stand anymore. It's just, heat was getting to me so much. And then thank goodness, I mean, the rest of the crew got there, and I mean, from that point forward, they made sure that I was drinking, which I was drinking plenty of water, I thought, but taking breaks and whatnot. So it's great to work with a group of people that are really looking out for each other. But we got a lot of stuff done, and I think a lot of the other people are going to say the same thing. We got some things done there on this trip as far as cleaning up and cutting trees and whatnot that we really didn't expect that we could do if we didn't have the manpower that we had and the women power that we had and the equipment that we had. And I'm sure someone will touch on that some more, but just the fact that us working together, we were able to split, I guess, because of the size of our group. Ben split us up into a couple different groups, and we went in different directions, and we're trying to work on different things. That's what Randy was talking about. Yeah, everybody disappeared, and it was just me and him on that roof. But we did have some other people on the ground still. But we got a lot done for some people, and I mean, even that house right there, we weren't actually expecting to do anything when on the roof on that particular house. We were just working on a big tree and some other things in the backyard, and just trying to clean up. And then all of a sudden, this guy pulls up from the road there and says, "Oh, I'm a neighbor or a friend of the lady that owns the home." And a lot of these homes, I mean, we got these work sites and whatnot because of Ben's connection with the FCA. And actually, there's Randy on the roof right there. But through the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, he knew of each one of these homes and individuals that needed some help. So we were working and cleaning up yards and just cutting stuff down. But this guy pulls up and he says, "I know the homeowner, and she's not actually in town right now, but she asked me to come check on the roof because something's leaking and inside the house." So throw the ladder up there and jump up on the roof, and sure enough, I guess one of the vent pipes or something was ripped off the roof, and then we had just a big old hole in the roof, and that's definitely where all the water was going in. And then once we got up there and started looking at it, it's like, well, we really need to tarp a good portion of this roof. And we didn't expect that at first, but luckily me and Randy had been filled in for me there towards the end, and we got that all tarped up and good to go. But this was a good trip, a good group of people, and we got to do a lot of different things. And you'll hear from some of the others that it was there was a lot of different things that were involved. The ladies got a chance to go to a distribution and service center, and we're going to see some pictures there, and of course they'll talk about that. But thank you for supporting us, and those we had a lot of surprise financial donations that paid for a lot of gas. We had a lot of trucks carrying a lot of heavy equipment, and we used a bunch of gas to get down there. And then of course,
We're right at $1,000.
yeah, about $1,000 in gas carrying all those vehicles and whatnot down there. And then of course, hopefully someone's going to share about the donations when we went to buy some materials and supplies and whatnot. Yeah. So someone will share about that, how God blessed and just worked in the whole situation.
I'd like to share a little bit about those pictures you're seeing now. That's a distribution center. It's called Trinity Baptist Church normally, and it's in Lake Charles, and several different groups are there. As you can see, a lot of different cars for individuals. You'll see Gina and Kathy right there working outside. As people would come up and they had specific needs, and Kathy could tell you because she worked outside what some of their needs were, and there Gina's helping the family. We had items brought inside, and then we would put things together according to what they were, such as laundry detergent, those kind of things, or hygiene items, or food items, or baby diapers, and those kind of items. And then as families would come up, young and old, senior adults, young couples, babies, children of all different ages. They even, I think Kathy said they had children's books, maybe colored books and all. But as families would come up, they would be able to just go right down to the lane, and all these tables were set up, and there was a way of them helping them and talking with them. And I worked inside, Rebecca Taylor and I worked inside, so we were sort of putting some of these items together, and then Kathy and Gina would come inside and get these items and take them back because they knew what people were looking for and what they needed. Also, Red Cross and Disaster Relief were stationed there, and there were meals being prepared. And this was a large church facility, and they had large driveways, and so they had it blocked off to where they could make 2 lanes coming in. And so we, one day during lunch, went out, and so we helped box these items that were cooked. And so as it went down like a conveyor belt of people, at the end, cookies and things like that were put inside. The top was put on the box, and then people went over to the outside where there were cars. And I know the one day, I don't know if it was the entire day or just for lunch, served over 8,000 people. So that lets you know how many people were coming lunch, how many people were coming by that distribution center, and how many families were touched. Maybe you donated something, maybe you were praying for us. You were a part of that. And I know with this last storm that came in, I talked with Ben last night. He said they were fine, but there were not as much damage this time, but there's been damage on top of the damage that still has not been solved from the time we were there. So things like this is ongoing. It could be a fire in California, it could be an earthquake somewhere, it could be tornado damage, as we talked about here in Jacksonville. It can be the hurricane damage that's down in South Alabama right now. So there's plenty of areas for us to serve and to work. And what will make us different from others is that we will be sharing the love of Christ. We will give them hope when they feel like there is no hope. And so I would like to challenge you to please come and go with us. Please come and serve.
We'll save you for last. For those who don't know me, I'm Kathy Brown. I've got two separate, I want to say they're God stories is what they are. Like you said, we spent over 10 hours in a vehicle getting down there. Well, we thought, well, we're going to unload, and then, well, we kind of did unload. We unloaded all the trailers with all the good stuff that everybody supported us with, the water, the Gatorade, and then we had people like, well, I was tasked to get, like, tasty cakes, something like that, and anything was individually wrapped, so you didn't have to put your hands on it, per se. So we unloaded that at one distribution center, but then we went to the house to work, and not where we were staying. Okay, so we hit the ground running. So, and as they said, the woman wasn't there, so we were just, the second crew that came, we were like on the ground. Now the guys were all up on the roof and whatnot, and like Rebecca, myself, and Janice, and Gina, we were on the ground, you know, carrying the limbs and whatnot. But it was the neighbors right next door. For, I don't know, like 10 days, they had no power. They had nothing. So to cool down, and I'm just going to tell you, that humidity was brutal. I am not going to lie. I mean, we drank so much, and you thought, well, you'd have to, I kept asking Jeff, if we have to go to the bathroom, where do we have to go? That was not a problem, okay? I'm just going to tell you. We sweated all out. So, yeah, God took care of that, because we had no facilities anyway. So, but the house next door, and it was an older couple, and they had a little girl. It was a granddaughter. We were talking to them, and they were kind of looking, and it's like, well, you okay? We're asking, you okay? And they said, yeah, we're all right. So they're sitting out on the porch just watching us. Well, the daughter comes with a husband and another child, and she came up to us, she said, are you contractors? And I said, no, we're not contractors. I said, we're here in support to try and help. She said, well, where are you from? We said, Alabama. She said, Alabama? Why are you here? Why did you come from Alabama to here? And I said, well, God loves us and he loves you too, so we're going to share what God provides. And I said, so we're here to help whichever way we can. And so she was devastated. Come to find out, her house was obliterated. So what little bit she could get out of it was very minimal. I mean, there wasn't even 2 truckloads in the back of a pickup truck, because all her other stuff was gone, and her babies were gone. Their toys and whatnot. So anyway, we were going to take a break and got some water. I said, well, you want some water? She said, do you have some to share? And I said, sure, we have some. So we went to the trailer, and then we lost count, so we had to go back to the trailer. But she said, I can't remember when I've had a cool drink since this started. So we shared a little, we talked to them, and what we did, we prayed with them, and she just broke down and cried. She said, I can't believe that you were sent here to help us. And I said, well, yeah, we were. And if we can help you any way we can while we're here, I said, we'll try our best. But they didn't need anything as far as, you know, her parents' house. So, like Maria said, by the time we got done that day, we didn't care that there was no hot water, because it felt good to us. we were just smoking. It was so hot. So the next day, and of course we all got up early, and our chefs, they did an awesome job. They fed us breakfast, so we're getting all ready to go. So we went to the distribution center, and that's what Janice was talking about. The ladies went to the distribution center. Well, when we got there was a lot of disaster relief people, and they were saying, well, what church are you from? And we said, Westwood Baptist. And they said, where's that at? And they said, Alabama? And they're like, Alabama? I said, yeah, we came from Alabama to help. She said, well, you know what, we're so glad you're here. So they just kind of, we just got separated out. Janice and Rebecca were working on one part, and Gina and I, like I said, there was just trucks and just people dropping off stuff. And it was awesome. I mean, there was everything from tarps to flashlights, anything that you can imagine, they were dropping off. Even baby formula, which I thought was awesome, because a lot of times you don't see stuff like that. So like I said, we were outside, again, in the heat. But we had an overhang, so it wasn't as bad. There was no breeze, but when they did the assembly line, the people would come up, and there was anything and everything that was available. Like I said, tarps, flashlights, but not all of it was on the table. So we would go to them and say, okay, what is it that you need? And they said, well, we need cleaning supplies, we need tarps, we don't have flashlights, and they were even providing ice, a 10-pound bag of ice, which I thought was great. So what we would do, we would just help them shop. And if the line got down, we'd go back in the building. I mean, I was shoveling dog food, cat litter. I mean, it was just breaking out cases of baby diapers and breaking them out. Because sometimes there were gigantic cartons, if you will. So you had to separate them out so you could spread it out for, a few people. And then we would reload the tables. And when they said, well, some of them would ask and said, well, we really appreciate everything that you're doing for us. And then, like I said, there were some that's kind of like they couldn't believe that we came all the way from Alabama to go and help them. And it was so humbling because, like I said, some of them, they just cried. And it makes you feel bad because you're trying to lift them up, and it's like, it's going to be okay. God's going to take care of all of this. And I said, and that's why he sends people like us to help you. So I said that to say this. The mission field is open. I mean, there's so many opportunities that we can serve. And it's great when you get to serve with your church family. Because I'm going to tell you, this is the first trip that I've actually got to serve with people from my own church. Because all the other trips I went on, I was the Lone Ranger in the team of, 12, 14 other people. But they were all from different other churches.
We couldn't get rid of her this time.
Yeah, I couldn't get rid of me this time. I was there to stay. But it was awesome, and it is. It's great to get to work side by side with people that, we just pass in the hallway. I mean, yeah, you're cordial and you talk, but you don't, like Jeff said, you don't get to have those discussions. And when we laughed. We had to laugh at ourselves sometimes. And I'll just tell you, the ladies' room, we couldn't fit one more person. I'm just going to tell you. Once we set up in there, you say, okay, everybody went to the bathroom, everybody brushed their teeth, everybody, we straight. Because once Janice put her cot down, that's it, you're locked in. So we were stuck, and you didn't get out of that cot until somebody else had to move. It was like the domino thing. Somebody else had to move, and I was stuck way on the other side, so you already know what that was like. However, it was good, it was fun, but like I said, it does your heart good because you're there to help people, and they can actually know that other people do care about them, and that God shines through us. So I just thank everybody for the support, and thank you for the prayers, because there were some occasions we really needed them, and we felt that God was providing for us, but it was because of your prayers. So thanks so much.
I thought you were dual. I thought both of you were on the same.
No, we get comfortable. Alright, so I moved the chair over here so I can get comfortable. My wife asked me what I was going to talk about. I have no idea. Still don't. But some of you know me, some of you don't. I've had a couple concussions from jumping out of planes, so if I get off track, just stay with me. Eventually I'll find it again.
But the only thing that keeps popping into my head is getting comfortable being uncomfortable. I've been around the world, all over the Middle East. So going and staying like this is just another day at work, you know. I get to go and I know that I have a place to stay, so it's better than sleeping in a truck on the side of the road or sleeping in the desert. But doing this, I knew I had somewhere to stay and I had people behind me. So it's finding that place to be comfortable being uncomfortable. We say that a lot in the gym where I work out with me and the guys I work with. We like to pick up heavy things and put them down. So it's finding that one way to be comfortable, to do that heavy deadlift, to do that heavy squat, or whatever it is you're gonna do. You're trying to find that place to be comfortable. When they initially said, hey, we're gonna do this, my brain's like, oh, I can do that. My dad taught me how to work with my hands and how to do a chainsaw. But then you get in your head thinking, well, if I do, then I'll have to work through the weekend, I'm gonna miss work. You'll find more excuses not to go than to go. So what I'm saying is try to find, if you can go, you can. If you can't, you can't. People understand. But you have to be able to look within yourself and be like, okay, am I making excuses not to go, or am I just, can I really not go? So you have to find some way in yourself to find that way to be comfortable, knowing you're going to be uncomfortable, knowing it's going to be hard. So when we went to this place, you know, we see all this devastation. We think, well, how can God allow that to happen? Because it was rough seeing there all the devastation that He's done. But in doing so, He allowed God to come into that place and take it over. You know, we're in 2020. We've been in a pandemic for, I don't know, 6-7 months. COVID wasn't there because people were people again. There weren't race relations. There wasn't a constant feud between everyone. People were people again. And everyone was coming together as a group to help each other. It wasn't, hey, well, you believe in this party and I believe in this party. It was, hey, no, we need to fix things so everybody came together. The one story that kind of sticks out to me is the last day. We went to the last job we were going to do, and the guy across the street kind of made a big deal about where I parked my truck and where everybody parked their truck in the trailer, which, to give you an idea, is a 2-lane road, but one of the lanes, like half the lanes are covered in trees already, so there's really nowhere to park. We've all got trailers and trucks. Well, I go and I move my truck to make him happy. His crew shows up to clear off his property. Well, they don't have a guy to run a chainsaw. So they come over and ask me and ask Nick and ask a couple others, hey, can you guys come over here and run chainsaws and cut some stuff? We'll pay you money. Well, we're not here for money. We're just down here to work. He's like, well, my guy can't be here, so if you come over, you know, we'll give you some money. Whatever. And, you know, we're just out there to work. So we go over and we do, what, maybe 45 minutes to an hour worth of work. He just hands us $200. So we automatically make a decision that money's not ours. So we talk among ourselves. We end up giving the money to, what's his name? Winston, the guy that let us stay in his house. He let us stay there for free, had no idea he was going to get anything out of it. He tried to fight me away, but I just walked up, stuck the money in his pocket, and walked off. So we knew we were going to be uncomfortable, but we found a way to be comfortable with it, knowing that God is going to take care of it. We don't know how He's going to take care of it, but we went down there knowing He was going to be taking care of it. For those that like to plan everything out, like my wife or others, that like to know every step, it's hard because you want to know every step and control everything, but sometimes you can't. Like, I'm not super comfortable being up here talking, but I found a chair and I got comfortable. So it's when you go through life, when you have chances to do things like this, if you can do them, I suggest you do them. Because it opened my eyes a lot more of finding a way to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Amen.
My name is Nick Rucker. Been affiliated with this church on and off since I was 14. And Jeff was 30 then. I'm not trying to date anybody. But Ree was a lot younger. I got you. But very first day we got there, I know we showed up where Robert was, but after that we went to a house and this tree in the backyard. I couldn't put my arms around half of it. That's how big it was. Yeah, the 20-foot tree. If everybody went on a trip, they understand the 20-foot. Jeff picked up the section probably about 8 foot. They said it was 20 foot. So, and the whole time we were there, we actually got the last people at the last time we were there to find out that the tree limb he was moving was 20 foot too. That's pretty funny. But, and this tree was probably a good 25, 30 foot long. But we cut it up in sections, but the last section was 20 foot. So,
It's a long story.
not that long, but the one that touched me the most, the last house we went to. That was always up there. That's the house we had to have the 20-foot section that we didn't cut it. And as far as chainsaws, Ken was the only one that actually bought a real chainsaw. I don't remember how long it was, 24. Was it 24? Ours were 18 or smaller, so we were kind of whittling that when he was cutting through it. That's what it appeared like, especially on those trees. The last house we went to was Winston's father-in-law, and they lost everything. The insurance company had already been there, already cut them a check to level everything on that property. I mean, they probably had, it was probably half an acre, before it was an acre, somewhere around in there.
19 trees.
The house was probably a 2-bedroom, whatever. It was a little small, nothing, but there was trees everywhere. We ended up cleaning all the front yard and down to the side, and we cut up a lot of the back. We couldn't get the tree off the house because I'm not sure if his excavator could pick it up or not. It was pretty rough. He got a quote for $72,000 to get rid of the house and the trees. When we got done, the guy said that it would only be 20 to finish the rest of it, which I thought 72 was kind of outrageous to begin with. That's another story for another day, I guess. They have to answer for that, we don't. But in the end, all I can do is cry and everything. And just seeing that in the end. And that wasn't even planned. We planned that the day before we went there to say, hey, let's do something for them, since we pretty much filled the quota that we had. I enjoyed every bit of it. I appreciate y'all letting me go. As I work at Honda full time, so the time I'm here at church and the time I actually get off to spend time with family is rare, because apparently they like me to work. If anybody's worked in maintenance, you'll understand. So, but thank y'all for letting me go, and thank y'all for allowing us to go.
Before Kenneth comes up, I want to elaborate. It's raining in my head right now. It's show us your glory, show us your glory. Sunday school class was on God's love today. About showing God's love because He first loved us, okay? That house, when we got there, they said if you could just get the front yard clean.
They just wanted a spot.
They could pull up to the house and they had to back into the road. They said just get the front yard so we can park up here. An hour later, we had the front yard done and we're going down the side of the house getting that cleaned up. These people, that song, I'm telling you, show us your glory. We showed God's glory just by going down there and showing the love. That was all we did. It wasn't all the work we did. It was amazing. We changed lives. We helped heal people. But God gets all the glory for this. Every bit of it. Y'all, thank you. And I know they've said thank you. But when you give to Westwood and when you give to Faith Promise and when you give to it goes to this. It goes into our GIC, and we get to take this money and go. We were able to have, we had the funds available to go, and some other people put into it. It was y'all. This is your story. What happened now? Kenneth, come up here. I'll talk. I'll be fine. Kenneth don't like talking. There you go. The main thing that I wanted to pull out of Kenneth is on the way back, we all left generally at the same time, but we come back 3 different ways. Don't ask, it just happened. We come back 3 different ways. And we got separated. And Robert and Janice come back one way.
We got separated because Jeff had this foolproof plan that everybody followed, and we all kind of went this way.
Well, the road was blocked. The road was blocked. It was, the road was blocked, and then, so, that was it. Anyway, so we're leaving about the same time. The road's blocked, so some turn on this block, some turn on this block, some, actually Michael got to leave late because he had to go turn around in the yard. But anyway, we're going down the road. I don't see anybody. We're down the road 45 minutes, so we start making calls. And Robert and Janice and them, they went to the east. They went down 10. We went north, and we called Michael and Kenneth, and they're behind us. And then they catch up. It doesn't take Michael long to catch up. Okay, Michael will catch up. It don't matter. So on the way back, after we stopped and fueled up, they took off, and then Randy and I took off, and we never saw them again. They were gone, and yeah, till 3 o'clock in the morning. On the way back, oh yeah, 3, yeah. On the way back, on the way down, we had a tire blowout on the trailer. We did, and we had a spare tire, good to go. But we couldn't get it fixed while we're down. So on the way back, Michael has another spare tire, or has another blowout. And we have an extra spare tire, and he put it on, and it was the wrong size.
It's too wide, so rub it in part of it well.
So you won't take it from there what happened, because this is truly a God story. I'm telling you.
On the first blowout, there was a guy coming up, pulled behind us, asked to help and all that. I said, we got a spare, we're good. He's like, well, I'll just wait and make sure you make it. So he fought, we got it on, we went down 50 yards, just spoke between the tires, we had another blowout. So he pulled over and found out what was happening, and the tire was just too big. He said he'd take me to find us a new tire. So we drive 30 miles one way just to get a tire. We get there, both the wheels on the trailer were warped up. We had to get new wheels, new tires, and he ended up paying for everything. He wouldn't let me pay for nothing. And, just drove me 30 miles. He drove me 30 miles back. It was gone for like 2.5 hours.
We're in Louisiana. We don't know anybody. Randy and I are over an hour away from them because we went more east and they went more north. And this stranger comes up, and there was actually 2 people that were going to help. But this stranger comes up. He takes Kenneth to one town. They don't have the tires. He goes to another town. Did you go to a third town? Anyway, yes, second town. And Kenneth is supposed to call me, and I pay for him with a credit card. Well, I don't hear from Kenneth. I don't hear from him. I call him, and this man pays for both tires, both rims, carries them back there. They get the tires on, and they're on the road already. I'm telling you, God was all over this trip. I mean, he was. He took care of us. It was not enjoyable driving, pulling equipment for 10 hours. The roads are terrible in Louisiana and Mississippi. They're terrible. In Alabama, what's Alabama? But they really are. But I got to tell you, show us your glory. Sometimes God shows us his glory in a hurricane. Sometimes that hurricane comes in so God can show his glory. And he showed his glory down there. I'm telling you, Robert, how long have we been going on mission trips? 20 years. I saw God at work in this mission trip more than I did any other one I've ever been on. And I encourage you, there's opportunities. Robert and I had an opportunity last week to take supplies down to Mobile. And we took a truckload down there. And there's people down there working, and Ben is ready for another crew to come down. If you want to go, there's a way you can go. There is. And we'll make you comfortable. Uncomfortable. We'll make you comfortable being uncomfortable. I like that. But I just want to encourage y'all. If you get the opportunity to go on these things and take advantage of it. Shows out to love. That's it. Yes. Oh yeah. Okay. So before we go, we're trying to get all the supplies up, and this is kudos to Walmart. We go into Walmart, and Robert and I are picking up. We get a manager because we got a lot. We're going to buy water, we're going to buy Gatorades, and we know we're going to spend about $250. So we go in, we get a manager. He's helping us load it up, and he asks what this is for, because we're talking about Lake Charles, and we said, well, we're going to give it away. We're giving it to Lake Charles, so people need it. We're just taking it down there. And he says, whatever you get, I'll match. He said, and if you don't need that much, I'm going to buy everything you got. He bought $265 worth of water and Gatorade and gave it to us. Had all the people come up and help load it and put it in our trailer for us. But he donated every bit. I mean, there's good people out there, y'all. Let's be one of them. Let's be one of them. Okay? That's all. Does anybody else have? Tony, you're going to close us out. Tony's got an announcement, but thank y'all. Man, thanks for your prayers.
Our pastor, each week, stands before us to give us a lesson, the example that Jesus gave us throughout the New Testament. This is what it's all about. It is. And I know some can't go, so I have a couple of things here that let you do it right here without leaving. Number one, Super Bowl was announced, I think, to be this next Friday. It's actually on Thursday, the October the 15th. So the ones that are signed up for that, it will be Thursday from 11 to 1, not Friday. And secondly, I have some flyers out in the Welcome Center. You might want to pick one up. But on November the 14th, on a Saturday, we'll have a group of motorcyclists come through. Faith Riders, most of you know who they are. They're a group of believers that go around to different churches in our county and gather food for the service center. So if you have the opportunity to bring some food here to the church between now and the 8th of November, bring it and either put it out here in the Welcome Center or in the Mission Hall, and then we'll gather it together. And if you're not doing anything and want a real blessing, show up here on the 14th, and we'll let you know what time later on. We don't know the schedule yet, but it'll be on Saturday, the 14th of November, that they will come to the church, and we'll load up that food and take it to the service center, and that group will pray especially for our pastor and our church. And certainly as many of you that can come to that would be glad to have each of you here. Be in prayer for our pastor as they have a safe travel back. And we're dismissed.